Question is that the House to now adjourn. I call the member for Chisholm.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I rise today very proudly on this Harmony Day as the representative of Chisholm. Chisholm was created in 1949, fittingly the same year my father migrated to this country as a 15-year-old boy and fled poverty and post-war Greece and couldn't speak a word of English. Like many Australians of immigrant heritage, such as my parents, the people of Chisholm are hard-working Australians who work in their communities and their workplaces with optimism and faith whilst maintaining family as their priority. First, I'd like to acknowledge the namesake of my electorate, Caroline Chisholm. Caroline Chisholm was an advocate and social worker and supported migrants to this country during the gold rush. She was a strong advocate for immigration and a woman of integrity and compassion to those who travelled across the shores and, in the words of our national anthem, toiled with hearts and hands to become an integral part of what makes up a magnificent Australian story. That is why it's so fitting that Chisholm, being the third most culturally diverse electorate, with over 65% of people having one or both parents being born overseas. In any one day in Chisholm, many people speak a language other than English, including Chinese, Greek, Indian, Italian and Korean. On this Harmony Day, I'd like to acknowledge all the constituents of Chisholm. They have come from countries such as the United Kingdom, China, India, Greece, Italy, Sri Lanka, Ukraine, Hungary, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Mauritius, Samoa, Pakistan, New Zealand, to name a few, and have combined to make Chisholm the third most culturally diverse electorate in this country. The diversity in the Chisholm electorate is also reflected in its blend of religious faiths, the different languages, food, music and dance, all key elements which define a different culture. In Chisholm, which covers 65 kilometres in Melbourne's east, it is truly a wonderful micro-example of this great southern land that is Australia, and is a testament to why and how this country is the most successful multicultural nation on this earth, living in harmony. People can enjoy the great Aussie obsession with sport such as Aussie rules and cricket, the vibrancy and richness of the Chinese festivals, the smells and the delights of so many different Asian cuisines, the colour, vibrancy and warmth of the Indian community, and the life, movement and love of family events of Italian and Greek culture. There are so many events and associations in Chisholm which support a wonderful and harmonious multicultural Australia. They include the festivals and events organised by associations and groups, including the Greek Orthodox Community, the Chinese Friendship Association, the Asian Business Association of Whitehorse, the Whitehorse Club, which particularly focuses and supports the Italian community, and the Telugu Association of Australia, again to name a few. The most heartwarming event which sums up the very essence of Harmony Day in recent times, in my view, is when I attended citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day, both one in the morning and evening, and in between both ceremonies I observed the wonderful things all Australians do on this day to celebrate all that is great about Australia, which often includes the elements of food with family and friends. That can be a great Aussie barbecue, from barbecued prawns to a sausage in bread with tomato sauce, a chicken laksa or a spanakopita with neighbours and friends. Mr Speaker, sadly this Australia 2017 was only days after the Bourke Street tragedy, where Australians lost their lives as a result of a wicked crime. So amidst the joy of Australia Day celebrations, I also reflected that it's particularly in times of need and crisis that the essence and good spirit of our country and its people comes to the fore. No matter our differences in our opinions, faith, gender, heritage or ethnicity, we express our love, our deep pride and our solidarity in being Australian in a humble, understated way. Our spirit of volunteerism, whether it's in relation to bushfires, helping the vulnerable, the aged, the mentally ill, or helping new migrants to this country settle in. Australians are respectful, friendly, good people who every day by their intuitive actions and gestures, be they small or grand, support their fellow Australian in a time of need. This is the core, Mr Deputy Speaker, of why Harmony Day should be acknowledged as the day when Australians are second to none, second to no other nation of people who can live in harmony, underpinned by our fundamental value of mutual respect. I thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.